where are you seeing AI deployed? And let's start with the mistakes at the moment. Where are you seeing it deployed in the wrong way? What are you seeing?
Look, I think when it comes to AI in sales, anywhere that somebody's trying to get out of the hard part of sales by putting an AI in and getting it to do it for them, you're missing a trick, right? The hard part of sales is getting on a call, having a phone call, talking to another human being at a conference, talking to another human being. That relationship, that's what sales is all about, and that's why good salespeople are great and worth a lot of money. And people that can't do that shouldn't be in sales, right? And then people are saying, well, I don't need to do any of that anymore. That's hard stuff. I'll put that to the side and I'll just do, sit at my desk and set up an AI agent to do it all for me. That's where I think people are falling over. And if they're not seeing the result of their bad idea already, they will be in the next quarter, because you can't get out of the hard stuff of sales. I think what you've spoken about just then is getting rid of the admin stuff. That's a beautiful use case, so you can spend more time on the phone. The problem is spending time on the phone is the uncomfortable part, and a lot of reps don't. They want to avoid that. You can't avoid that.
Yeah,
which sounds ironic, I guess, when I run a business that has voice agents and video agents that can spend time on the phone. Ironically, though, I don't believe that those video or voice agents should replace what a human can do.
agree. Yeah, it's just a time and a place for them, right? And sellers can be focused on some different things. Like again, I was talking to two SVPs about this week, and it's like, actually, I think the problem is there's no limitations now what we can do with technology. There was that time maybe 2 and a bit years ago where we were like, hey, we're starting to really push the boundaries of what we can do with these tools. Now AI's around, it's kind of removed that challenge. I think the challenge more to overcome is the lack of curiosity in the sales organization around what is possible and what should I do. And like, if you are, banging your head against a wall, like maybe just download the most recent version of the State of Sales Salesforce report, where it's got like reps spend 30% of their time selling, the rest doing admin. There's like a kind of a chart, just screenshot, dump that into ChatGPT and say, where can I use AI to swap this around? So it's 70% selling, 30% doing admin. And I don't know about you, Mike, but I sometimes use AI to help me use AI.
Yeah, I know, and I was going to say that when you said just take that and chuck it into ChatGPT and ask me how I can use AI better. It infuriates me, and now ironically we're sitting here on a podcast talking about this, telling people information. They could just use ChatGPT for this information too, but hopefully it add some level of enjoyment and pleasure as they're walking around listening to us to having a bit of banter. But the actual doing of how do I do X, whenever anyone asks me that, I feel like, remember the old let me Google that for you link, and you'd send it to them and it'd just pull up Google and write it in for you. Yeah, that's where it's just let me ChatGPT that for you these days. And it's so true. Take the problem you're trying to solve, throw it into ChatGPT and take those steps out. I think the only challenge and the caveat to that is ChatGPT will have you believe you could be a rocket scientist and go and build a rocket step by step. And it'll put it all together. Would you like me to put a schematic for? Oh, yeah, put a schematic together for me. Oh, would you like me to do that? Yeah, do that. Yeah. And you could spend, especially as an entrepreneur who doesn't have a boss telling them not to do this, you can, trust me from experience, spend days on end going down wormholes with ChatGPT. When ChatGPT first came out, I was between businesses. I was an entrepreneur that had exited one business, had done the sitting on the beach and got bored, and then sat there going, what should I do? And, ChatGPT exists. Well, what should I do? And then, literally day after day of just deep rabbit hole, having it make me believe that I could do whatever it is that it said I could do. So I'd say be very, very wary of that. Use your brain as well and pull back out from that and say, hang on, is this my area of expertise? Should I be wasting time on this? Does vibe coding up a product actually make sense? Especially if you're a salesperson, not a coder. I went down that path. Very, very bad path to go down if you're a salesperson, not a coder. And then lean on the people that can actually do those things, because as you said, there are so many tools out there for so many different areas within sales that we can use really, really well. Is there a perfect universe where I can just have that all vibe coded so it all does it together? No, like it doesn't exist yet. Will it exist? They tell us it will, but then again, in in 1998, I was told that we'd be having hologram conversations over phones in a couple of years, and it still hasn't happened. So,
I mean, the acceleration in the innovation is crazy, right? Like I've been building AI agents in custom GPTs now for about a year. I'm a startup VP of sales, so I've had to become techie. There's not been an enablement or a RevOps team. That was me. So I'm pretty good on the tools. And when I started to get curious around custom GPTs, it's like I was going in and doing like a MEDDIC deployment with a customer, or doing, I know, discovery or business case training. And typically what I find, Mike, is that the manager to rep ratio is significant. So they typically don't have capacity to do a lot of the reinforcement and the hands-on stuff. So that's when I started to build custom GPTs for reinforcement, like a discovery coach or a business case builder. And when I was building these, I was like, one day they'll probably do it, but I wish they could build something that I could just talk to. And then the other day this is terrifying, but I had a conversation with myself. I've built James GPT, which is my AI twin, and it's been trained on MEDDIC to start with. I recently wrote a book called Champion Playbook. I uploaded all of the content from that. I've put about 350,000 words into it. And I literally can text it, or I phoned it and I was like, hey, I'm going into an economic buyer meeting with the CFO. My champion is a VP of HR. They're in the manufacturing industry in Leeds. They've got 2,000 people. I need you to give me the top 3 objections that the economic buyer might give me. And it sounds like me when it spoke back to me, and it coached me. It didn't give me the answer straight away. It asked me what did I think was going to come up, and help me identify gaps and support me through that process. And that for me is so cool, because a year ago it was like ChatGPT would put words into the screen and they were usually not great. And now I've got an AI talk. It's just crazy. All right, thanks for listening to this episode. I've got something else I want to give you before we wrap up here. So we've built the leading skill optimization platform with 400 plus sales lessons, 12 courses from prospecting all the way through to late stage deal negotiation and more, one-to-one sales coaching and AI sales assistance. And I want to give you 7 days free access to the platform. The reason I want to do this is because nobody gets a degree in B2B sales. And after training and coaching hundreds of sales reps and teams in the last 2 years, most haven't mastered critical selling skills. And it's preventing them from being promoted, earning great money, and building a great career in B2B sales. So go to the revenueenabler.com, grab a free trial, and join hundreds of salespeople that are closing their skill gaps and mastering sales. There's a link in the video description. I'm looking forward to getting you set up. Give me a shout with any questions.